Hi everyone, we have Frank Luijckx from Gene-5, and I'm very excited about that because we helped you guys digitalize in so many different ways. We have so many interesting, exciting projects that I'm really happy that you are my guest in my little show. So welcome.
Well, pleasure to be here, Philip. It's a pleasure working with Q and given this opportunity to share something about Gene-5 and our projects is great. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit more about your company.
Well, Gene-5, as the name might be implying, it's the fifth startup in a sequence of startups. There was a fourth IR before that, and that's actually when we got working with Q in the beginning. Gene-5 is a incubator. We try to bring projects in there and execute them. Currently, we have two projects. One project is Zilius, which is in the cardiology space, cardiology readmission, a very interesting space, and the other one is BYOD, Bring Your Own Data, which is in the hospitality business, mainly focused on restaurants, and that's the one we're working with Q on. And we're about 1.5 years in, and we are working on release 2 right now.
So what makes you most proud of in your company, everything that you do?
Agility and innovation, Philip. That's what we are proud of as a company. Our ability to do things differently. We never walk the beaten path. And our ability to react very fast. When COVID came up and we were working on BYOD, we had a project plan, we had a development plan. We realized there was an opportunity, we pivoted, we changed. We pushed out 3 products into the market in no time with the help of Q, of course. And everybody was very impressed with how fast that went. In one of the projects, actually together with Q again, we did it over the weekend. There was a need, we worked through the weekend, everybody was excited, and we delivered. So agility, innovation, never the beaten path.
I think that's why we get along so well, because this is exactly how we also love to do business. Where do you see yourself in 2025? I mean, as a business?
Yeah, Philip, if I would know that, I wouldn't be sitting here and working, right? I mean, I would be investing my money. If I this crystal ball, where do we see? Well, first of all, Zilius and BYOD being well-established projects, being in the market, having lots of investor interest. We would like to see those 2 projects monetized by then. And we have a list of other things to work on, some very exciting, that we will probably have started up by then. So I would look at a different set of startups. I could start speculating, but that would just be wishful thinking, I guess. But we're not giving up, we'll keep on going.
How did you choose Q? How everything started?
Well, when you start developing things, you need a partner. And we worked with a lot of partners from around the world, all the way from Vancouver to Belarus. And it ranged from the ridiculous to the hilarious. I could talk for hours about the experiences, none of them very good. Of course, Adrian, his charming self, he kept calling, he kept trying, he never gave up. I think it took him 2 years. And finally he said, come to Zagreb, it's Christmas, it's great here. And I said, oh, well, the guy's really been working so hard, I will go. My wife was excited, so we came to Zagreb. We sat down, had a working session. I loved the people, I just loved the office, the atmosphere. And I said, okay, let's do a project. Started in January, big success. The rest is history.
So we should buy a big chocolate to Adrian. We would be speaking now without his persistence.
Persistence, he's very persistent and charming.
How do we create value for you?
How do you create value for us? It's an old and tested word, partnership. You work with us. We talked about the agility. You adapt the team in size. In tough times when we were running out of cash, you adapted. You tuned down the team. When we all of a sudden had money again and we wanted to go fast, you ramped up as fast as you could, which is always difficult. I had been in software development off and on for 37 years, so it's not like I don't understand the difficulties there. So you add value in many ways people, though, I mean, I always would say that people are the most important part of any partnership, relationship, project whatsoever. And, with Q, I know the people, I know partly their personal lives. It's a really good connection. It's always been part of my career, knowing my people. Even when I had a development team of 3,000 people around the world, I made it a point to know as many names as possible. And even if I ran into the airport, say hi, call them by name, etc. I feel that way with Q. Personal relationships, very important.
If you could, just pick up one project that's most exciting that we have together, which one would that be?
Well, at a macro level, we only have one project. That is the BYOD project, right? Which is a combination of a lot of components. And we have Event Protect, we have Temp Protect, we have Guest Protect, we have BYOD. Now we're working on something called Mabel. The one that excited me most was Guest Protect. I mean, all of a sudden in Michigan we needed to have registrations, the famous QR code, sorry, which is now omnipresent everywhere you come. But that was new at the time. I've never seen people so exciting. When we were at a meeting on Thursday and said, man, we wish we had a tool like that. And go, well, would Monday be okay? Because I realized it wasn't a difficult thing to do. I called up Q in Zagreb and talked to the project leader at the time, and everybody thought it was crazy, but everybody thought it was exciting. So by Monday we had the prototype running and everybody was blown away. So that's a small but very exciting, but that thing repeats itself over and over again.
If Q was an animal?
Well, I say teddy bear, which is not really an animal, but it's it's a safe and comfortable place to come to with your worries, with your dreams, your opportunities. You're accepted. And again, it's this personal relationship. It's like, you really want to do it that way? I go, yeah, would you know a better way? And then, you start talking about it, but you're always accepted. It's, accepted, guided, comforted. And so, yeah, it's a comfortable place to come to, hence teddy bear.
I always ask this question, but I think this is the most original answer I ever got. So thank you for that. And to go to your life, what did you do before? What drives you in business? Can you tell us a bit more about yourself?
I'm actually, until 2012, I was a very boring corporate executive. I worked for the Dow Chemical Company around the world, but I was always an innovator, never walking the beaten path. One day I was playing golf with one of the top executives, and I hit a ball and it went almost 90 degrees in the wrong direction, hit a rock somewhere, bounced off the rock and landed perfectly on the green. I could ship it from there, and I was doing great. He looked at me and goes, "Why would I think you golf differently than you run your job?" I took that. I'm willing to take a lot of risk. I'm willing to go off the beaten path and do that innovation. I did about everything everywhere for the Dow Chemical Company, for Asia, Pacific, Africa, India, Europe, America, and Latin America. I've ran IT, logistics, environmental health and safety, purchasing. Probably forgetting something, but you get the drift. Always been involved in a lot of things. Very at the end, totally at the executive level. Did large SAP projects with thousands of people around the world. So Dave Dittemer, my co-founder, and apology for not managing him earlier. He's a great guy. He's the commercial genius behind all this. You sometimes ask me, you say, man, you never get nervous when things go wrong. I go, Dave, in BYOD with Q, nothing goes wrong to the scale that I'm used to. It's just not at the scale that. So yes, I've been an operational guy. But around the world, everywhere. So I'm a global guy. Loved it. Love the opportunity that our chemical company gave me. Then in 2012, I started my own companies, and Gene-5 is generation 5, I guess.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And thank you for these kind words that you said about Q. It's always nice to hear them. I know that you've been to Croatia just recently on your bike and you did a little tour. It was raining heavily. I hope to see you again in Croatia with much nicer, sunnier weather. And thank you for being a guest in this famous show on YouTube. Is there anything else that you would like to maybe say at the end? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. It's maybe cheesy, but I would recommend people to work with Q. It's a kind of a plug for the company. But don't work with them if you want the classic waterfall methodology. You really have to embrace their willingness to work with them. If you're looking for a wild and successful journey that takes twists and turns, and looking for a partner to be part of that, then I think Q is a good place to be. And maybe the final thought is, do not underestimate the opportunity that the technology is offering you out there. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's like I always like to say, I'm a little bit older, but I feel like a kid that gets dumped a container full of Lego bricks in his room every day to go build things with. I mean, it's just endless what you can achieve. So you're only limited by your personal vision and ambition. Thank you.
Very nice words for the end. Thank you so much and speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Filip.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.